After last year was mostly a lost season for Cincinnati, I think most of us agree with this sentiment. We're going to cheer for the Bengals this year. If that is you, I know it is Stone, of course, then like today's video for me right now. Myself and Stone, who will be taking over full-time in the not-too-distant future, agreed together with all but one game on the Bengals schedule. We'll get to our record predictions here in a little bit. First, if you missed our video last night when the news broke, the schedule is out for Cincinnati. Week 1, home against New England. Week 2, at Kansas City. Week 3, against the Commanders. That's a home game, Monday Night Football. That is a doubleheader, by the way. Week 4, at the Panthers. Week 5, home against the Ravens. Week 6, at the Giants, Sunday Night Football. Week 7 at the Browns. Week 8, home against Philadelphia. Week 9 against the Raiders, their home game. Back-to-back road games before the bye. The Ravens and the Chargers. Thursday Night Football, by the way, Week 10. Some lack of equality in the rests. That's a 3-11 game stretch there, Week 8 to Week 10. The bye in Week 12. And then Week 13, 1 p.m. game against the Steelers. Then you get a pretty tricky gauntlet of 3 games in 10 days. Week 14 at the Cowboys for Monday Night Football. Week 15 at the Titans for in that game. Then you go back at home on Thursday football. That's a stupid stretch. I hate the NFL is doing it this year. It's not fair. Week 14 at Dallas. Week 15 at Tennessee. Week 16 home against the Browns. Week 17 versus the Broncos. So it's Monday night, 1 p.m., Thursday night, 1 p.m., and then Week 18, Steelers in there as well. That date is still TBD. So let's go game by game, get to my record predictions here. Week 1, Stone and I agree here. There was no conversation. Win! The Patriots are not a good football team right now. They were a bottom 3 and frankly bottom 2 team for a reason for a good portion last year. We both love the Bengals to take down the Chiefs in that matchup. All right, Week 2. This one's a tough one. You know, under the radar, by the way, the Chiefs don't start seasons that great in most cases either, but it is a road game. If they win, we're back to calling it Burrowhead. I don't care. We've got the Bengals losing in Week 2. So that's not the end of the world. It's going to be a tough game no matter what. It'll probably be a 3-point game. If I can get the Bengals like -5, I'm hammering that line. Week 3, the Commanders come to town for a Monday Night Football doubleheader. No debate between Stone and myself either. Week 3, it's a win. Start the year 2-1 with a schedule that actually sets up pretty favorably if this team can start hot. Bengals beat the Panthers, or take on the Panthers in Week 4. I guess I spoiled it. It's fine. It's the Panthers. No one's going to pick the Panthers in this game. We all know the Bengals are going to win. This is an ideal outcome to start the season. As far as I am concerned, this is a good scenario for the Bengals. 3-1 to open up the year. Gives them some flexibility down the stretch, puts them in the driver's seat for what feels like the first time in a long time. Now, we will have more Bengals watch parties for you this season. Thanks to Stone being hired here at Chat Sports, he's going to do watch parties every game. So it's not going to be you get 4 or 5 games. That was all I was able to do last year. More games this year for you guys. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Week 5. This is a very tough football game. Ravens at the Bengals. I let Stone pick this one, so I'm going to pass the buck here. Ravens win. Maybe back to the slow start narrative. The AFC North is going to be a dogfight. I mean, how many of them went 3-3 last year? Minus maybe one team mixed in there. It's going to be tough. So I'm not going to panic if they drop an AFC North game or, frankly, 3, because they're going to take care of business outside of the division. That includes Week 6, Sunday Night Football. Thanks for putting the Giants on, I guess. They're a terrible football team. Bengals blow them out of the water. It's going to be like 35-10. Bengals destroy the Giants in Week 6. They're back to 4-2. And then another Week 7 AFC North matchup. Bengals on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Things do not start well in the division. 4-3. They drop this game in Week 7. If you can be at 5 wins, I feel great about that for Week 7. If you can even get to 5 wins come to Week 8, I feel pretty good about it as well. Those AFC North games are tough. I did let Stone pick this game as well, independently, because I didn't want to let my anti-Eagles bias, that something's going to get accused of, parlay in there. Bengals take down Philadelphia. If this was a road game, maybe we'd feel differently, but it's at home. So I do think the Bengals take down the Eagles in Week 8. 5 wins through 8 games. Look, you want to be better than 10-6 over the first half and back half of the season with the extra game mixed in there. That's a good start relative to what the Bengals have done in recent years, even with a couple painful AFC North losses mixed in there. So when it comes to the AFC North, will the Bengals win the division? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote at the pinned comment. Week 9, it's the Raiders. Have fun in the Super Chat battle against Mitch there, Stone. That's going to be a tough one for you to win, but it's going to be a Bengals win. He and I are in agreement there. Bengals take down the Raiders, Week 9, part of a schedule that kind of gets a little tough in the Week 5 to 8 range, and then I think can set up pretty favorably for Cincinnati. Week 10, Bengals on the road against the Ravens. A painful loss here. 6-4 through 10 games. I would argue, if you can take care of business against some of the other AFC North teams, a chance to go on a bit of a heater down the stretch. Week 11, at the Chargers. Always a bit tricky going out to the West Coast, traveling, etc. The bye has not yet come. This team is going to be tired. I think the Bengals beat the Chargers. I have not seen enough consistency from the overall offense. They're kind of rebuilding. Stone and I in agreement. Bengals take down the Chargers in Week 11. Then they get to Week 12, a much-needed bye. And I do think the schedule, with a couple tough AFC North games mixed in, sets up favorably. So Week 13, Steelers at the Bengals. Give me the Bengals. I don't believe in Pittsburgh. At some point, their ridiculousness of constantly finding ways to win 9 games, 10 games has to end. And the Bengals owe Pittsburgh for what happened last year. So we'll get to the final prediction here in a little bit. But I want you to predict the Bengals record in 2024. If you didn't do it earlier, now is a great time to do it. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Now, Week 14, as I'm sure most of you know, I am also the Cowboys Report host. It's always been Cowboys 1, Bengals 2. So I thought it was only fair if I did not vote in this one. And Stone has the Bengals beating the Cowboys. That'll be Stone will be back there, and I'll be here, or I guess depending on where you're watching, Stone will be here, and I'll be back there. You'll hear a lot of loud noises during those watch parties. So Stone has the Bengals beating the Cowboys, and my family, which is all Bengals fans, get to talk a bunch of trash to me. They're 9-4, going into Week 15 at the Titans in Nashville. I'm not convinced Tennessee is going to be a great football team, even on the road, as part of this really dumb 3 games in 10-day stretch. Give me the Bengals to take down the Tennessee Titans, to improve to 10-4, and then a pretty pivotal game in Week 16 that I think will carry massive AFC North and playoff implications. Been not great so far for the Bengals in the AFC North, right? Let's get back on track here. Bengals beat the Browns. They add another win. This, by the way, is 5 straight wins with the Bengals taking down the Browns here in Week 16. In Week 17, some TBDs on this date. It's one of those flex games like the Bengals-Vikings game was earlier this year. I don't believe in Bo Nix. Give me another one for the Bengals to take down Denver. 12-4 in Week 17. Now, maybe Week 18 isn't playing for anything. Maybe they've already locked in like the AFC North with a wild card, whatever. We will operate as if the Bengals are playing for something in Week 18. And the Bengals will avenge the Steelers' losses. It'll keep the Steelers out of the playoffs, by the way, to kind of return the favor to an extent. And the Bengals end the year on an absolute tear as one of the hottest teams in football at 13-4. So before we go, which Bengals game on the schedule this year worries you the most? Maybe it's the Chiefs. Probably not the Cowboys if we're being honest here. Maybe it's one of those Ravens games. Maybe it's just all the AFC North matchups. Whatever it is, sound off and drop that game for me in the comments.